Welcome to the 2350 Effect.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2350 Effect. I am your co-host of this whole particular format, which is the 2350 Effect live with Damian and Dr. Farran, and my great co-host here, Dr. Farran. Introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here today for the first airing of the 2350 Effect. I am Tania Farran, owner of Creative Living Ideas and co-host of the 2350 Effect. Happy to be here.
And we are streaming live on LinkedIn on my page and also Dr. Farran's page, and we're also LinkedIn streaming on YouTube as well. Thank you all for joining us and welcome, and please interact and reach out. Okay, with that said, Dr. Farran, you want to start off and kick off with about the 2350 Effect and what it's about?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm really excited to bring this to you all. This is something Damian and I have been working on in the last, couple of months. A lot of you probably saw us when we did the virtual wellness summit. And, we talked a lot about different types of wellness. And so we wanted to continue to bring forth amazing people that are talking about all sorts of hot topics. And so we created the 2350 Effect. That is going to be airing on Sundays at 7 p.m. Central Time. So we're excited about that for you. Damian, why don't you give the description, the explanation of 2350 Effect, and then we can talk about what we plan on doing with it.
So the 2350 concept and effect is that there's 24 hours in a day, and we continue as individuals, we allow 10 minutes of a bad day to affect the other 2350 of our day. So a lot of times when you ask somebody if did they have a bad day, and when you narrow it down and drill down to it, it's about 5 or 10 minutes. So the 2350 effect is about not allowing those 10 minutes to disrupt your 23 hours and 50 minutes of your day, and also having value and looking at it in a positive note. So that's the effect of having that mentality of 2350 Effect. Thus, the name of the show in the live event. So we're excited about that.
Exactly. So it's a mindset, right? And so we, a lot of times we in life can let a 10-minute or a 5-minute situation in our life spiral and say, oh, I had a horrible day because of this. And turning our focus to positive things and thinking about all the other great things that has happened today or in your whole life. And so we want to continue to bring forth incredible things, incredible people, incredible talents to you so that you are able to expand the positivity in your life. And so we're really excited to be able to do that. So what you can expect from the 2350 Effect is, we will be talking on different topics. We will be bringing guests on to the 2350 Effect. And they will be coming and talking about them. We want to highlight other people and their skills and, the ways that they are helping impact the world. We don't want to keep these people a secret ourselves. We want to share them with the entire world. Damian, how do you feel about us talking about the network real quick?
I feel great about it because the whole concept of the 2350 effect came out of the 2350 network, which is a big pool of individuals that we have. Like Dr. Farran said, this whole show is dedicated to having people come on and we host and have conversations with so many amazing people on our network and kind of highlight them. So the show really isn't about myself and Dr. Farran, although we are going to talk about things that are about us, what we're doing, give updates, cool stuff that's going on. And we are blessed and honored to actually have our first guest who's up, and we'll bring her up in a little while, which is Jamie. So, Dr. Farran, what are your thoughts about the network and what it pertains?
Yeah, so the network is something that we literally just launched on Friday. It's not even, we're in like a soft launch with the 2350 network. So, we've brought so many people together actually and have built an incredible community of people who have enjoyed being together that we wanted to continue to keep them together. So they are part of our 2350 network and we have special events for them. We just had a happy hour on Friday, a virtual happy hour where we got together on the 2350 campus. And it was just so much fun to get back together and talk about what each other are doing and being able to support one another, sharing out what projects we're working on and how we can support one another. And then there was this explosion of collaboration that just happened on Friday as well. And so, hey, I want to work with you. Let's do this together. Let's do that together. And it was so fun. So we have some different events planned with our 2350 network. Each month we have a lunch and learn during the week. And we also have a lemonade and leadership. And so on a Saturday. So we've got some things already cooking and we're really excited about it. So we'll be bringing more information to you about that and how you can be a part of our network. Also, you'll probably love it. There's some really incredible people there.
All right. And with that said, before we segue in, do you want to Oh, okay. I'll say we'll start with. Okay, here we go. So we have a great special guest who's coming up. I know I normally do a different segment, so we'll bring her up first before we do the segment. She's an amazing person. She has her own wellness journal. She's a mother. She has her own podcast, which is going through with Jamie. She also has her own live an audio room that she hosts with Autumn, which is I believe it's called Feel Good Fridays. We want to bring her up because she also is the owner, the creator, the founder of Helpful Living magazine, which is an amazing thing. She also has been a presenter for the Virtual Wellness Summit, and I like her, call her friend, and we want to bring her up to start off the kick off the 2350 effect. Welcome to the stage, Jamie Rocky Moore Best. Jamie, welcome.
Hello. Thank you. And thanks for just even thinking of me with kicking this off. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to just kind of talk and converse with just all the amazing things that that I am doing. It's hard to talk about yourself, I will say, but
It's easier when people ask you questions.
Yeah, it is. It is for sure.
All right. So this is how the format is going to go. We do kick off the show with particular segments. So I want to kind of have like, a soft icebreaker type deal. And we're going to start off. And this segment is called Laugh, Text, or Call.
Okay.
Now, what is that thing that made you want to laugh, text, or call someone that inspired you this week?
I feel like it's always something that my son says.
Okay.
Yeah, it was he said, what did he say? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. But he had said, so we were watching something and it was like with cowboys and cowgirls. It was really cowboys. And he was like, why do they call them cowboys when they're riding horses? Like, and I was just like, you know what? I don't know. I can't answer that question for you, son. He was just like, oh, okay. But it's just always, little children are just so simple, like, and when he said that, I was just like, wow, that made me laugh. And I feel like I needed to tell somebody. So that is one of them. That was one of them.
I love that logical thinking of kids, right? And I've never thought of that. They're riding horses. Why do you think that? That's adorable. So cute.
My best answer was, oh, well, I said, well, they have outfits kinda that can, like has like this. I'm trying to think of like the things that they wear that might have like the spots or whatever. I couldn't even give him a logical answer, but I thought that was funny.
Nice. Dr. Farran, what do you have for laugh, text, or call?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Sometimes my world is just hilarious 90% of the time. Those of you know that I've had my grand dogs over here. Yes, I said grand dogs over at my house, and they have been pretty funny this week. In fact, today, one of them it was kind of funny. We snapped a picture. My mom was sitting in a chair having a cup of tea. She got up to put her cup in the sink, and the dog hopped right in her chair and rolled over and said, "Rub my belly right now, right here." And my mom just laughed like, "You were waiting for me to get up." And we snapped a picture and sent it to the family, and it was pretty funny. So, animals are a huge part of our life and my family. And so that gave me a chuckle. How about you, Damian?
I love that. What made me laugh was about an hour ago, and it was a good group of people in this room. Anyone who knows Kenny on LinkedIn, he had like a birthday celebration, and it felt like the roast of Tom Brady going on. And anybody who knows Kenny is a laughable person and always joking. He's like a practical joke person. And then to see like 30 some odd people come to the room was like joking with them and joking on them. It was so funny and hilarious. And he was like, he's always in good spirit and positive. So I kind of loved like how the whole vibe of that was. So that kind of made me laugh. And then the thing that kind of made me either text or call was I was watching Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Mr. Rogers thing. And
Oh,
it kind
wow.
of made me get in this mind state of this particular conversations around mental health. And it gave me a lot of parallels as how we were kids and we saw Mr. Rogers and he was kind of preparing us stuff for adulthood and all the things that go with it. So it kind of made me think about that as well. So
That's nice. That's awesome. Hey, can we give a shout out to those that are in the audience? I know
sure.
sometimes LinkedIn, we can't always see who's in the chat. So I'm sorry if we miss you, but thanks so much to Kinga, who was at the Virtual Wellness Summit with us in the spring. She's an incredible friend and has just been amazing. Felipe, thank you so much for being here. Jane, Charito, thank you for being here. LinkedIn user who said, hey, happy Sunday, happy June. Margaret, thank you for being here. Jackie, who is a great friend and was at the Virtual Wellness Summit with us as well. She's an incredible person. And Margaret, so thank you so much for being here. We're happy to have you all part of the show tonight.
And if you're out there and we don't see you, please put your name in the chat so we can see who's here. And also, if you come up as LinkedIn user like I do, I tend to put a dash at the end and then put my name so we know who it is. Everyone's welcome. We thank everyone for showing up and being here. With that said, let's go into it. Jamie, who is Jamie?
I am a lot of things. That's kind of sometimes a hard question to answer, but I do know that I'm very passionate about helping individuals when it comes to their wellness. I'm dependable, I'm lovable, I'm a wife, a mom, an entrepreneur, and I still have my 9 to 5er. So I'm just I like to advocate for people. When I really sit down and think about it, and my goal in life is really to just kind of help people get to that next step. And oftentimes the help that individuals need is just kind of in the wellness realm, right? When it comes to, just kind of their journey. So I call myself a therapist's best friend because I like to connect people with therapists and or individuals that are helping people when it comes to mental health. So
I love that. Thanks for
thank
sharing
you.
that.
Jamie is incredible. I don't know. She's being very humble and she's being very quiet right now, but she's pretty incredible. She manages a household, she manages a family, she, manages work. She puts out incredible newsletters. Every time I get your newsletter, I'm like, gosh, how did she have time to get another one out this week? I'm struggling to get through a week out, and she's just cranking this information out, and it's incredible what she's doing and really, really shining a light on mental health and really just talking about it. And so, and I know we're going to get to some of those pieces. She was a part of the Virtual Wellness Summit. You know, she had a great room that she shared information about, and she has her magazine. Like, she's got a magazine. That's pretty incredible. I don't know very many people that have been in magazines, let alone who as, and yes, Kinga, her magazine is art. It is beautiful. The layout is beautiful. Like, she is being way too humble. She should be like screaming from the rooftops, like, everybody look at this. This is pretty incredible. So I just want to say, before we dig into this magazine, I just now dropped in, I have the links to purchase the magazine if you want to. This is just this edition of the Virtual Wellness Summit Special Edition, and Damian will go into that a little bit more, but I just dropped it in the notes of the comment section of this event. So people can get the digital copy or the paper copy sent to them. But beautiful. It is absolutely incredible. And you produce a magazine every month, Jamie?
Every quarter.
Every quarter. That's still a lot. And then she did one for us. Like, ours is, you guys, ours is so beautiful. And it was like, she was like, okay, here's some questions. Okay, answer this. Okay, I'll take it back. Damian, Tania, you want to review it? Okay. Like, did you feel any stress, Damian, in her voice? Any stress in her tone? Like, there was no tone stress. Like, she's just like cool as a cucumber getting this done.
And I think one of the things that my goal really is to I love that there's so much information. I love that there's so many individuals that have projects and products and services that are there to help individuals. And so it's like, oh, I got to get this out. Like, we got to get this out, you know? And it wasn't until I used to work at a psychiatric hospital here in Maryland. And I just kind of noticed there was a need when it came to information with mental health. And I'm just kind of like, I just saw so many people turn, you know, turned a blind eye or just was not like receptive. But yet they would come back. They would be like, no, I'm not. This isn't me. This is wrong. I shouldn't even be in here. They'll get discharged. Then they'll come back like the next week or 2 weeks later and be like, you know what? I guess I did need to be in here. I guess I do have some issues. And it's like, how do we avoid that from happening? And so that's what's just like, then we need resources. We need spaces, or we need something where people can read and they don't feel like they have to buy into something or they have to commit to something, a program or anything like that, but just to read for leisure. And I think with the Virtual Wellness Summit, I thought it was just cool because everybody in the room had, every presenter had a product or a service or even just information on how to live, you know, a better life or how to, you know, gain support and things like that. And I was like, this in itself needs to be out. So then, you know, collaborating with the two of you was amazing. And I think it was so exciting that I'm just like, oh yeah, let's do this.
It was great. It was really fun. And I do agree with you about the resources. You know, Charito was just in my room on Wednesday, my parenting room, and we were talking about mental health of children at that point in time. And she has a friend who had a scenario with their son, and we were talking about resources, and she does not have the resources in the Philippines that we have here. And so we started talking about, are there books that she can have? Are there, you know, articles, books, things like that this person, go on YouTube, follow a therapist. Like, there's different things that you have to like kind of think outside the box. So it's incredible that you are putting out your magazine. So what are some things that people could expect? I mean, we'll get into the Virtual Wellness magazine, but what can they expect from you every quarter from your magazine?
Sure. So there's a few things. So I have three main, I don't want to call them topics, but the structure of the magazine is there's always going to be an information article. So there's information articles. So anyone that's a clinician or anybody with lived experience, whether they worked with people or just kind of have a good background in mental health and wellness, they can create an article on information to provide like facts and like debunking myths and just like how to's. And then there's the interviews. So the interviews are typically individuals that have a product or service, and that during the interview, you kind of read all about what that is, and that is to make sure, like the goal is to have readers learn about a product and connect if they would like to. And then the other point is called personal stories. So individuals who have lived experience, whether it's or something like that, they can write freehand, just kind of their journey, their story. And that particular one is really to help the individuals share their story. It may be a person that is looking for a platform, maybe somebody that is, just kind of coming out the grist of learning about mental health or wanting to share their story or having like the courage to kind of talk about it, because you do relive the moment when you're writing. And so there is even a process with that. And so, and then in addition, I have ad spaces, and then I have what's called wellness articles, and I kind of sprinkle them throughout the magazine. So it might be like a crossword puzzle, and maybe like a journal prompt, a coloring page, just something to lighten the magazine, because it can get heavy. It can get heavy. I think when I made the first one, I was like, man, this is deep. I need to take a walk. Like, oh my God.
To take a walk.
Yeah, because it's just like everybody kind of pouring out, and I'm just like, oh, this is heavy. And it's like, well, let me lighten it up. And my goal really for the magazine is to have it be something that everyone in the household can read and learn from, because oftentimes we learn through other people's stories, and someone in our house could be going through the exact same thing or something similar, but maybe it's hard for them to express it. But when you read a story or you read some information, you're like, oh, I get it now, so yeah.
So speaking of the Summit magazine, let's get into that. So, so those people can actually see it. So this is the collaboration we did for Virtual Wellness Summit with Helpful Living magazine. Thank you for that. Definitely spearheading and doing this. Here's the artwork. And the thing about your magazine, the art cover, can you tell people about your art cover, how it gets picked?
Yeah, so I'm very particular, and this kind of was like a trial and error. It wasn't until about like a year or so ago, when it came to the cover of the magazine. I always wanted something like, art is very expressive. When I worked at the hospital, they had like art therapy and creative expression therapy and things like that. And anytime that I would talk to an artist, it's like their artwork kind of like helped them get over something, right? Like it kind of helped them when it came to their wellness journey. And I said, you know what? I think I have something here where I can display somebody's art, whatever it is, right? And then so I'll reach out to some artists and see, if I like, not if I like, but yeah, if their art catches my attention, I'll reach out to them and see if they would like to be featured. And so for every artist that is featured, of course, it gets on the cover of the magazine, and then they have a full page about themselves, and then how people can kind of connect with them and like purchase their art. And so I always wanted to really promote artists as well, because they're doing the work too. And I just feel like you can express in so many ways, and I'm learning that even with art like this. The artist for this magazine, for this cover, it was so amazing. I mean, it's hard picking when someone submits their artwork and they never submit one. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But it's always great. But I love how vibrant these colors are, and it just kind of made me think about how vibrant the wellness summit was, right? And so I thought this was a good match.
I have to read this to you because as Jamie and I were looking at this cover, I felt like this cover was kind of off center, right? So this gentleman, he makes this, he uses pieces of paper and creates this quilt out of like of a paper piece. So it's some type of art. I don't know. I can't give that description, but I asked him, could you get me a centered piece of this art? And he said, the image is purposely not balanced to symbolize the distractions we encounter in life. And I was like, oh, I said, well, you're talking to a symmetrical girl. Sorry about that. And he said, well, I didn't know girls were symmetrical. And I said, well, this one is. So it was really cool to talk to Paul about his art and why it is in the direction that it is and how he makes it. So it's a very cool article. Very cool.
Yeah, and it's
this
always
is
like
cool.
something behind there. Like there's something behind that. And I
Right.
thought that was pretty cool too. I love that. I love that.
And Paul's featured in there. He's on page, I believe, 5. He's inside the article. Here's Paul. Here's his explanation on his art and his path, and it's a good read and a good opportunity to connect as well. Let's get into the other presenters that are actually inside the magazine. So we have Dr. Farran. You want to take this part?
Sure. Absolutely. So, we offered this to our presenters if they wanted to be a part of this magazine, and a good chunk of them did take us up on it. And so we have Kinga on page 7 and myself on page 8. Dr. Mel Vandevort, who I have, we have her coming next week. She's on page 10. Daniel is on page 11. So he's a great read. Damian on page 13, and Jackie's on page 15. So I love the graphics of this. I'm sorry, being an author myself, when I go through, I'm like, oh my gosh, the graphics on these pages are just beautiful. We have Lee Forrester on 16, Portia on 18, Deanna Pelly on 20, 21 is Dr. Sheila Thomas. He's really putting me to the test of remembering everybody's name. Page 24, Camille, thank you. Camille. Brenda Lee's on page 26. Dr. Rahim and Sir Royce on page 28. Jamie's on 31. And Dwight's on 33. So amazing. I love how this layout is on those first few pages. And then each of the chapters and pages in there tell them what each chapter is about. And it's, it goes into some of their feelings and their opinions of wellness. And it also talks about what they talked about at the summit. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. So how was it, like, collaborating and doing it and putting together? Because a magazine can be stressful. Everyone, what's your opinion on it?
For me, so I have a system now. I live by my Google Calendar. So I have a really good system now. And of course it took, I guess it took about a year or so to just kind of figure out the cadence, because believe it or not, when I first started this magazine, it only came out twice a year. It came out in the beginning of the year and then towards the end of the year. And somebody I was talking to was like, Jamie, you are doing yourself a whole disservice. You need to come out with more. This is good stuff. And I was like, okay, I will. But I kind of tread lightly when I start things, just because I don't want to overwhelm myself. And it wasn't until, I want to say the 5th issue maybe, when I really started like getting the layout, the cadence, and things. So I always give myself a schedule. I'm always recruiting throughout the year, and I've gotten to a point now that I'm still kind of shocked, but I gotten to a point where people will just reach out to me in emails and just say, oh my gosh, I would love to be featured, or here's my pitch. And I'm just like, oh, this is getting, before I would just be reaching out to everybody, like, anybody that want to be in here, come on down. But it's getting to a point, and it's just showing me that the word is getting out. People are liking what it is. And I feel like a lot of people who do an article, they feel empowered. It's like, wow, I'm published in something. And so the process, it gets a little, so far it's getting easier, because it's kind of like I have a good rhythm going. So yeah, And one of the things that I love about just putting the magazine together is I learned so much from so many people. Just kind of their thoughts and just kind of like techniques that they do and just the resources that they share, the products that they have, the services that they provide. It's like I'm like at the front seat of the table and just getting all this good information. And I meet so many people,
Yeah.
so many people. And typically what I do, I like to do like a call, whether it's a virtual call or a phone call to just kind of get to know the person, see if just kind of just feel their energy and see if they're a good fit. And we always kind of talk, whoever I'm talking to, we always kind of go and just kind of talk about like the importance of mental health and, what they're doing and what I'm doing. And it's just always a good vibe. And I think doing that has helped me like connect with people. And I think it also helps the writer with the article, because they feel inspired. So yeah.
Speaking of good inspired and good vibes, we have somebody who felt like it was a good vibe for them as well.
I was recently part of a virtual wellness summit. After the summit, each of the presenters got to have an article in the Healthy Living magazine. It was a great experience. Jamie was very professional. The articles were very professionally done. They looked amazing. And the magazine cover itself was beautiful. It was a wonderful experience. Thank you so much, Jamie.
So Dr. Mel wanted to say thank you for
That's so
having her
cool.
in the summit and an experience. So we
They're
wanted to share.
excited. The people that were in the magazine are very excited about the magazine. I've seen a few different posts. I don't know if anybody else has seen it of them where they've grabbed their images of their pages and have posted that. So that's really incredible and good as well. It is. And so those of you that are in the audience, you have something to contribute to Jamie's magazine. Make sure that you reach out to Jamie. As you see, she's got a process. And so she may be able to put you down the road in an article or something like that. So make sure that you are doing that and checking out Jamie. How can they, I dropped the link to just this magazine, but how can they be a subscriber and how much does it cost them a month or a year or whatever to be able to subscribe to your magazine?
Sure. So there's, you can go to helpfullivingmag.com. Also, info at Helpful Living Mag is the email to where you want to pitch, your article. And so there's two different prices. There's the physical copy price, that's $45 a year. And that, whenever you purchase the subscription, you get the magazine that's currently out at that moment. So that's the physical copy. For the digital copy, I believe it's $25. I realize in this world that we're in, some people like digital. So I was like, I have to make a digital version, and then I have the physical version. But I will say a lot of people love the physical. I think it's just filling the pages, just flipping through them and just kind of even being able to underline it, some key things, circle some things, dog tag some pages, and then even just kind of giving it to other people and reading it. So yeah, it's really good. And there's 4 issues a year that comes out.
Nice.
Well, this year's 5 because of
this year 5. Yes, this year it's 5. So definitely, if you're a subscriber or when you become a subscriber, our surprise or our special edition is also included, for sure. Yeah.
That's exciting. That's really great. And people, physical copies, right? If you are a therapist and you want to have a copy or 2 of this in your office, something like that, because you can go in there and thumb through it. That's a great place to have physical. If you want to, I was just going to say that, Kinga, show your mom, show your mom, look what I am in here, pass it out to people, let them see that, because it's really exciting to be published. And so that's incredible. Yeah.
Yep. And speaking of even in clinics, I do have a few in clinics, like some of the therapists who've been in the magazine will become a subscription holder, and then they would have it like in their office, which I think is really great, because especially if you're a parent or you're somebody accompanying somebody to, to the clinic, it's something that you can read. There's magazines typically in the doctor's office. And I'm like, but how many of those magazines is mental health? You have the
Right.
fashion, you have the cars, you even have like the entrepreneurs, but it's like, what magazine is in here that I can read where I'm, talking about where they're talking about mental health and wellness. So
And the
I thought
virtual
it was a
wellness
great idea.
one, I'm sorry, the virtual wellness one has 16 different presenters. There may be somebody that they can reach out to, for
Okay.
additional help or support, in a specific area. So I apologize. So yeah.
Oh, no, no, no. It's exciting. It's definitely exciting. So I really enjoyed this collaboration with you, with the two of you, and just continuing. And I'm glad that both of y'all seen the value in the mission that I have, and just kind of was like, let's do something together, and helping the presenters even just kind of reach more, you know, um, more folks, because it's just like when you hear good news and when somebody's doing good, you want to share it, and I feel like this is doing that.
Yeah, this was easy. Like if on it was stressless because we had the conversation. Let's do it. The idea. Okay, we went together. We send it back, read, send it back, work together, and it was like a team effort, and we kind of got it done rather quickly. And I like that we had so much engagement. People were on top of what they're doing, and if one person didn't connect with this person, one of us reached out to them and got them, and they were on top of it. And it was a lot of good information um, beyond, because a lot of it is about their summit experience, what they talked about the virtual summit, how do you connect with them, what's up next for them, and all those information in there. And you can get the reach out, support, get the virtual wellness summit helpful living magazine edition. Get all the helpful living magazine editions. You can get it on helpful living mag, which is coming across the screen. You also can go to creative living ideas and get it from there as well. And there's so many ways and interactive ways to support and get the magazine and connect with different people in your network and providers as well. So it's a great opportunity. All right. Speaking of that, mental health is your thing, right? The
Yeah.
stigma of mental health is your goal is always to remove the stigma of mental health. For those of us who don't know what the stigma of mental health is, can you explain what that is?
Yes. And so I saw a lot of it firsthand at the hospital. I've gained a lot of my experience working at the hospital. I worked at a psychiatric hospital for about 7 or 8 years, about 8 years. Yeah. And this was, of course, before the pandemic. And just the stigma, like people just would not want the help. They would just be like adamant, like, I'm not these people. I'm not crazy, right? And it's just like I've had to debunk a lot of those myths, because I'm like, people are in here because of life challenges and transitions. Someone lost their spouse, someone lost their home, someone lost their job. Like I tell people all the time, we're one tragedy away, right, from being in a crisis. And even when we are in a crisis, it's not a bad thing because there's support, in that. But the stigma is just like not wanting to get help, not wanting to um, receive the services, or even just accept their diagnosis, right? And when you do that, you kind of like take a step back. And when it comes to healing, so a lot of the stigmas, people are afraid to take medication. People don't want to look like they don't want to feel or look crazy, and I think one of the ways that has came about was just like the movies we see, right? Um, I'm trying to think of a movie. There's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Have y'all seen that? That was a movie that just popped up in my head. But it just seems like even with those stigmas, like anyone with mental health issues are bad people, right? They're hurtful, and and so people don't want to associate themselves like with that. And so I feel like it's that just kind of what we see on the surface in movies, on TV, and then even just like hush hush. Like I know for me, like even in my church, it's more of a like, um, oh, well, you want to get better before you go to that crazy house. Like it's just kind of the context of what people would say mental health is. And that kind of made people shy away. It's like, I'm not stepping foot in that hospital. That means I'm crazy. Why would I accept help from you guys? So I'm glad that we're in a space now where people are talking about it more. I think the pandemic brought that out of everybody because we were all like dealing with similar. Staying in place was challenging enough, but then people lost their jobs. Some people, they had to live with each other more closely. So that brought out a lot of things, so I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, you did. My brain always goes to Batman when they talk about the stigma of mental health. It's dark. It's all this.
Yeah.
The insane asylum of Arkham. It gives that feeling and that vibe that is like just not always that not realistic. And you talk about people living with each other and having to live with each other is kind of an important thing as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the stray jackets and the forcing of the medications and the injections, you just always, and it's always like a dingy, dirty look, you know what I mean? And it's like, the hospitals don't look like that, so yeah, but I'm glad that the conversation is changing. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're heading in the right direction.
I agree. I feel like, this is the tip of the iceberg. Like just even this conversation, you could go on show after show after show after show about mental health and bringing it forward. There's such a spectrum of mental health. You know what I mean? Like there's so many pieces in between that, you can, and everyone's experience is different. And everyone's need is different. You can't just, pigeonhole and say, this is mental health, so there's so many pieces at it. So we're continuing the conversation on Wednesday about parenting. We're talking about flipping your child's brain, from negativity to positivity and just some of the things that we can do. And, so there's so many, I think the more that we talk about it and the more strategies we put out there and the more that we can normalize that we all have moments or situations that trigger, mental health episodes or scenarios for us, the more that we can really help support other people in the world. So thanks, Jamie, for all that you do with that. So talk to us about, how do you balance motherhood and prioritizing yourself? You and I just talked about this for just a little bit right before the show started, but as a mom, how do you do that? You're a mom, you're a professional, you have a magazine, you run a household.
Yeah. I will say, it's a daily thing. It's being intentional daily. And I think I'm just now realizing that. It's like, oh, I could set the schedule and do it for a while, but it's like, no, this is an everyday thing, honey. Like you have to be intentional with how you navigate your time. But I do think that one of the ways that I am able to do so much is just the support I have within my household. My husband is very supportive of what I do. And it was interesting. Like when we had our first son, I remember he came home from work and was just like, if you want to take your laptop and go to Panera for a little bit, you go ahead. And I'm just like, say less. Let me take this laptop. I'm out of here. I think I had a little bit of smoke coming out under my feet. But I will say that one of the things that I started to do, like I was telling you before, was just like working out. But it took me a while after my second son to figure out how to put that into my schedule. And then realizing like, oh, you have to get up early to do that. And so really just giving myself structure is really how I'm able. And then when I give myself structure, my household does too. And they're, it's easier to implement it because I'm implementing it. But if one person falls off, whether it's me or my husband, then it could kind of like, make things shift. And which I've experienced recently because like we all were getting sick. It's allergy season. And I realized that with just being sick, it threw me off. And so it threw me off going to the gym, which threw me off, mentally, and I'm just kind of like, why am I feeling tired all the time? Why am I not having happy days or anything like that? And it's because, the structure was a little off. So structure is really important for me. Writing things down, like I tell people, do not, I don't even know the word I'm trying to say, but make sure you write your stuff down. Like what I do is I journal. I'll write down what I want to do for the next day, make my list, and I'll even check it off. Like, okay, did I send that email? Yes, I did. Did I reach out to this person to submit articles? Yes, I did. Did I go to the gym? Did I drink water? Did I eat today? So have all those things, because whether it's big or small, it all plays an important role in, just in our daily lives. So structure is one, and then writing the things down is another thing that I do to help balance just my daily living.
It's so important. And it's so funny because I personally did not, I thought, I thought if I just did it all on Sunday, if I just did all the things to take care of myself on Sunday, then I'd be like charged for the week. And that's just not really how it works. The body doesn't, and the brain doesn't work like that. So I think you figured it out younger in parenting, like when your kids are younger than me. My kids were probably more like 8 and 10, where I was like, I got to put a stop to some things every day. I have to do something for me every day. And so
Yes.
that's important. And even on that list, I put take a nap. Like I love a power nap. I want to lay down, just take my shoes off, stretch out, get cozy, listen to some music, put a diffuser on. Like, I mean, I enjoy that time now. And you know what? When you do those things, and I won't get on this, but I love this topic. When you do those things, you're modeling that for your kids. And when you model that for your kids are able to see, how do I take care of myself every day? Mom is taking care of herself. So what do I go do to take care of myself? And then they learn those strategies to help regulate their behaviors every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. We could just go on and on, so we won't. But yes.
And I
Love
will
it.
say, even to add to that, I feel like self-care 10 years ago that I can remember, I don't think we were talking about self-care that much.
You're
And it
right.
seemed like it was like a selfish thing. I feel like 10 years ago we were like, work hard and do this and no
Yes.
sleep, being
Yes.
up and getting this. And it's just like, now that you're hearing it, it's like people was like, oh, okay. Oh, so I can do that. And then it got to the point where I would hear people a lot last year say, I don't even know how to do that. And it's like, well, I think, and a lot of people would think it means they have to go out and get a massage. They have to go out and get their nails done. They have to go out and do something physical. And it's like, no, it's taking a moment. It's doing deep breathing. It's what you can do within yourself. Those are the key things. So I like that self-care is something that we're starting to talk about more, because I think it's giving people feel they have permission now to do that.
Yeah. And I think it was like a big shift at that point 10 years ago, about like more ownership on it, and like people, because burnout started becoming big 10 years ago, and identifying those stress factors have been big. I appreciate it. It made me think the work-life balance summit is coming, and we need to
Mhm.
talk about that too as well. You want to talk about the work-life balance summit before we get into the next question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The Work-Life Balance Summit is coming up October 4th and 5th. Tickets are already available right now. It is a 2-day virtual event where we're going to focus on self-care and some social type strategies, some leadership, some career work-life balance, like really important good stuff that we have coming. We've just gathered our presenters, so we're almost full. We still have room for a few more people. If you're interested in being a presenter, please send Damian or myself a message, because it's really important. This was a huge hit last year. Come join us right now. The tickets are $75 for 2 days for early bird. I think that was the price. I think so. I think it is right now, $75. Get your ticket right now. It's super important to do that and get that for yourself. take it to your work, buy it for your employees, set the 2 days aside, and really, model that as an employer. Like, that's super important to model that to your staff, and for yourself, and take a couple of personal days, plan out your personal days, and join us on Friday and Saturday. It has been amazing. It's different than the virtual wellness summit, completely different, because we're just really working and focusing on our work and our life and different strategies that go along with it. If you haven't been to an event that Damian and I have put on together, we've only really done 1.5-ish together. But you will learn that we're very structured, and who we are having come and the topics that are coming are very focused and centered to that topic. And it's really, really important to do. Excited about it.
I'm excited as well. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to try to make sure he was going through that process and talking about the summit, and it's a process. Picking the presenters, making sure that the topic fits, the person fits, they're a good fit, that we're having meetings, and it's a whole process. And make sure we want to go through it appropriately and have a good energy, and everyone benefits off it, including the presenters. Speaking of going through. Jamie, you have a live. You have a podcast called Going Through with Jamie. Tell us about it.
Oh, yes, I do. And so this is something I launched at the beginning of the year. All last year, I wanted to do a podcast. And so I said, all right, well, let me take a year and dedicate and listen to different podcasters, listen to like the style, listen to what's going on, what's out there, where I would fit. So all last year, I was just kind of doing my research. And the top of the year, I was like, I'm going to do it. And so I launched Going Through with Jamie. I feel like the magazine is a space. And, whenever you do look at the magazine, there's a slither of what I say. There's like, it's just a letter from the founder, and I'll say a few things, but I let the magazine, I let the articles and the writers kind of do their thing, and it's all for them. And so with Going Through with Jamie, it gives me a space to just kind of talk about things that I'm dealing with, to kind of talk about things that people are dealing with. So it just kind of gives a space for me. And so what I found over these last couple of months in doing this podcast, it's like rewarding to me. It's like I feel like I'm getting some things out there and just making another platform available for people to talk about mental health. So thought-provoking topics, things that I've learned throughout the years, things that I may even be going through, I'll make it a topic. And then what I'm going to be launching in the summer is interviews with people. So you'll see some or hear some people from the magazine on here, and it just gives another platform, because I feel like I'm in a space where if I'm driving somewhere, I prefer to listen to a podcast more so than music. I don't know. Maybe it's just where I'm at in life. And you learn so much. I mean, you can listen to a podcast for 20 minutes or so, and just learn so much, whether it's confirmation of what you're doing or a skill set or anything like that. And I've learned a lot, and I just felt like this was a great avenue in helping people understand mental health, and just creating a different space where people can learn more about it. And I'm all big about provoking conversation. And also, I always wanted to have people say, but I can't explain it, but listen to this. This might help you, or this might, give you some context of what I'm going through. So I just want to create space and be in places where people can do that.
And I like the topic. Sorry. Debunk the phone.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, go ahead, Dr. Farran. You got it.
I'm sorry. I just said, and it's only on Spotify, correct?
It's on Apple Podcasts too.
Okay. So both places. Go ahead. Go through those topics. I like them too, Damian.
Yeah, you have, are you growing where you at? You have, well, these are your topics. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, like debunk the funk. Let's get you motivated. How to relocate successfully. Are you growing where you're at? And to relocate successfully, I kind of talk about, because I'm originally from Pittsburgh. PA. And so just kind of relocating to Maryland was, I guess when you're younger, you don't realize how it will, I will say, when I was younger, I didn't realize how much it would affect me. I'm just like, oh, I'm out of here. I'm leaving Pittsburgh. I'm going to Maryland. I'm out. I'll see y'all later. But not realizing that there's Christmases, there's holidays, there's birthdays, right? There's things that happen back at home that, at least for me, when I graduated out of college, I was not making money. I was just making enough to get by. So it was like going home was a challenge, and then realizing that had a mental effect on me. But I talk about just kind of how to transition um, successfully. Yeah, and it's a fun thing to do. At first, it was a little. I felt like I was just talking to myself. It was a little weird, but I will say, with creating this podcast and having conversation, I feel like it's been giving me confidence to talk more. Because I'm doing it. Um, I try to launch a episode every week. I try to, or maybe a week and a half, but by doing it so much, it's been giving me, just some courage to talk more.
Again, at the beginning, those of you that are listening, just rewind this to the beginning when she very humbly introduces herself, as you've listened to all of the things she's balancing, her own mental health, raising her children, her husband, household, magazine, podcast, day job. Like, you're incredible, Jamie. You're
Thank
doing
you.
great things. And I think the connection between your magazine and your podcast is a brilliant idea. And I just hope it continues to just soar and become hugely successful. I really, really do.
Thank you.
And she hosts a live event.
Yes.
Feel Good Fridays.
Feel Good Fridays. It was such a cool event. Autumn and myself, we just was talking one day and wanted to create something, and which I learned is another form of podcasting when you do audio events. I didn't realize that. And so just having conversations and connecting with people has been just great. I feel like I want to continue to serve and help people learn and grow and in their own mental health and wellness, because everybody does it differently. And so that's just my goal, is really to just kind of help people. And I know we're about to wrap up, but I have also like a journal called Me Time, my Me Time journal. And I realized that a lot of people would say, oh, I don't know how to journal, or I don't know how to write things down, or I don't know how to do this, that, and the third. So I created created the journal to help people do that, which I think is pretty cool. And I just feel like, as a creator, and I'm sure y'all too, the both of y'all, and find yourself doing this. I'm always creating stuff.
I love it. It's so fun, right? It's
Mhm.
beautiful for the brain to do all of that. I just want people to be able to know, like, again, if you just jumped in at the end, Jamie does have a newsletter with lots of information about her journaling, her journals, her magazines. So Jamie, if they go to your website, is there a pop-up for them to be able to sign up for your newsletters?
Yes. And when you sign up for a newsletter, you get a free sample of one of the earlier issues of the magazine. So you
Nice.
can just kind of get some insight on, like, oh, well, what is this? So I'm very confident in what I am doing. And I'm just like, here, just check out for yourself. So that's one of the perks when you do sign up, you'll get to check out one of the magazines.
That's cool. That's very cool. Very, very
Mhm.
cool. So great things. I thank you. I'm reading the chat right now. I don't know if it's Cherry or Sherry Holmes. I love that you were listening to calm your PTSD while driving in Seattle traffic. Just take a deep breath is what I want to say. Deep breath. I love that. But yeah, it is great. And I do love listening to podcasts and learning something. I'm a big I like to learn. And so if I get something, out of a podcast or even a LinkedIn room, I'll take a walk and listen to a room. It's really, really helpful. Absolutely.
Mhm. Yep.
Before we do the quote of the day, or the do you want to talk about the upcoming events?
Yes. So we talked about the Work-Life Balance Summit we have coming up October 4th and 5th. It's a 2-day virtual event. Right now, there's early bird special to purchase your ticket for the 2 days for just $75. You can scan the QR code on the screen. You can also go to creativelivingideas.com and go to the virtual event, or you can just jump on this comment section of this event that we're on right now, and it's in there too. So you can check that out. I also have a really great session, 5 sessions with me called Parent to Parent. If you need you to register by this Thursday, we're going to dive deep into Raising the Well-Adjusted Child, a Parent's Manual, which is my book. We will meet 5 different times for about an hour and a half and go into that. You'll also be included into a parent-to-parent community, have access to me and other parents, and start building that parenting village, and you'll receive a free copy of the book. And then I have a variety of self-care journals also. So I have one called Great Minds Think Differently, which is for people who are in that neurodivergent category. My daughter, who has epilepsy, created this book. She's not technically considered in that category, but we know she thinks differently, and she created this, and it's an incredible journal. Working on Wellness is a journal for professionals. It has some vision boards in there, has prompts, it has journal pages, so it's really incredible. Kickstarting Wellness is another great journal. And then Staying Well is for teens. They're all available on Amazon. You can click the QR code to get copies of those also. And then the Parenting Journey Summits. Damian and I will be putting some together. We talk about different pieces of parenting, structure, routine, parenting, discipline and consequences, forming connections, technology, bullying. So stay tuned to creativelivingideas.com so that you can join us on our next events that we create. And then starting next March, we're already planning the virtual wellness experience. Tickets are already available for that as well. If you go to the creativelivingideas.com page, and right now they're $75 for early bird special, March 21st and 22nd. So lots of great things coming for your wellness, whether it be your personal wellness, your parenting wellness, work-life balance, and then of course the magazine. Grab your copy of the Helpful Living magazine and stay connected to our community.
Now, so Jamie has so much going on. She has the magazine. She has Going Through with Jamie. She has her audio room. It's so much going on. So now, with that said, since Jamie has so much going on and we have so much going on, Dr. Farran created a segment where we talk about leaving with a quote. So
I thought it was important, right? Quotes often, bring us, whether it be, our clarity or our purpose or our drive or our meaning. And so usually everybody has a favorite quote or two that they like. And I really try to live my life by mine. Mine is be the change you wish to see in this world. And so, I'm doing it one person, one episode, one book, one page, one article at a time. But I'm putting my best foot forward to do that. So that is the quote that I live by and that I love. How about you, Jamie? We'll give you time because you didn't. Are you ready, or do you need more time? She's ready. She's ready.
I need more time.
Okay, she needs more time. She's gonna think about her quote. She's gonna Google it real quick. Damian, are you ready for your quote?
So, like I said, I watched Mr. Rogers today, and I got inspired. But I also watched somebody on social media, and then I also have this quote in my house. So I have 2 quotes. One is, life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. So it's a quote that I have up in my house. It's right over there. And I looked at it and it just caught my eye. And I have quotes all around the house. And then another one was Kinga took a quote and she posted it today. Alone we could do so little. Together we can do so much.
I love that.
And I believe it was Helen Keller who actually said it. So, and Kinga posted it. So that kind of stuck out for me today.
Those of you in the audience, if you have a quote that you live by, drop that in for us, because it's so important to find something that inspires you or gives you a direction. All right, Jamie, are you ready?
Yes, and this quote actually sits on the website, on my website, and it's by Maya Angelou, and it says, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you."
Okay, that's powerful. Read that again.
There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you.
That
so that's
is awesome.
on my website, and that's by Maya Angelou.
Nice. Thank you. So much
That's
for
beautiful.
That. Now, with that said, we are here every week as it scrolls over, and we have so much going on. The 2350 network is coming soon. I don't normally do whole shows. I do them every so often. Like Jamie was actually a special guest one time way back. Don't often do them. Next week we have Dr. Mel who's coming. She just launched her book, and she'll be able to come in and talk. And we want this environment and this process of the 2350 effect to be this environment where people could come, talk, learn, and speak. And the great part about the 2350 effect is that the whole goal of this is to not let 10 minutes disrupt the other 2350 of your day. Live life on purpose, passion, and understanding, and go out and be your best self, and lean on your supports, your services, your resources, and your community. With that said, I have nothing else to say. Dr. Farran or Jamie, do you have anything to say in closing?
Yes, I just wanted to thank you all for just this space, this opportunity. And then also, I always tell people, you can't be everything to everyone else and nothing to yourself. So always make sure that you give yourself something, every day, because you deserve it. So.
That's sweet. That's really sweet. I just want to thank everybody that was here today. Join us on Sundays. Thank you to Jane and Christy for giving your quote. Those are beautiful quotes. I've read them. Thank you very much for doing that. And thank you for being here tonight. I hope you can join us more Sundays. And if you can't, if you're busy doing something, catch the replays. Follow us on YouTube. I'll drop the YouTube channel in this also. And you can always catch the lives then as well. And I hope everybody has a terrific week. Have a great week. Make it awesome.
Thanks, everyone. See you later.